is one key factor that separates the Don Vitos of the world and the Philip Tattaglias, the Sonnys from the Michaels, the Fredos from, well, you get the idea. And that difference is their hunger for wisdom and their relentless pursuit of an edge. What's truly amazing is that anyone can acquire this same deadly knowledge. All you need is the right knowledge source. Today, we're drowning in slop, dressed as knowledge. Everyone's got a podcast, a hot take. But real power, real understanding, that's buried in the books nobody talks about anymore. So here's my promise to you. By the end of this video, you'll have a list of books that will give you the knowledge and tools you need to take control of your life and crush your competition like it's nothing. These are the books that your favorite writer gets his ideas from, the ones he doesn't want you to know about. We're connecting you straight to the source. This won't be one of the lists that just recommend the most obvious books and leave you hanging. No, today we're going to break down why each one of these needs to be on your reading list. The benefits, the expectations, I'll give you the takeaway for each pick, plus exactly how to apply it in the real world. By the way, if you're watching a video like this, I've got respect for you. It means you take yourself seriously. Most people are too brain-rotted and just scroll past the video. They'd tell you they'd read more if they had time, then lose 2 hours consuming slop they won't remember tomorrow. But you're here, and that means you're already in a different category. So look, by the end of this video, you're gonna have your next book. But here's the problem. You'll hit the same wall I hit. You'll know the book you want, but you're going to struggle to find the time to actually read it. But don't let that stop you, because that's the difference between those who become the best version of themselves and those who stay stuck in the rat race. And that's where Audible, the world's biggest audiobook platform, comes in. I went from reading a book every 2 or 3 months to finishing several in under 2. Not because I got more disciplined or magically found more hours in the day, but because I didn't need to sit down to read. I can enjoy learning while I carry on with day-to-day tasks. But it gets even better. I got us an offer that only a Fredo would refuse. If you sign up with the link below or scan the QR code, you'll get a full 30 days for absolutely free. And here's what really makes this insane. You get to pick a premium title of your choice, and it's yours to keep. Even if you cancel, it's still yours. You'll also get access to the entire Audible Plus catalog on top of that. They've got podcasts, guided wellness programs, theatrical performances, A-list comedy, and exclusive Audible originals you won't find anywhere else. And you can listen to them as much as you want, no credits needed. They'll remind you before the trial ends, and after that, it's only $14.95 a month. Cancel whenever you want. So what are you waiting for? I'll let you pause the video, scan the code, or go to audibletrial.com/theculturemafia. That's audibletrial.com/theculturemafia. Links below. Thanks to Audible for sponsoring this video. Now, let's unlock the books that will get you to think like a Mafia Don. Now this one is the pure embodiment of the famous Godfather quote, "Revenge is a dish best served cold." I got a question for you. If someone destroyed your life, stole your career, your woman, your future, would you strike back immediately? Or would you wait 14 years, plan the most surgical revenge ever executed, then dismantle their entire world while they never see you coming? Most people can't wait 14 days. Edmond Dantes waited 14 years. The novel follows Edmond Dantes, a young sailor on the verge of being promoted to captain of his own ship and marrying the woman he loves. On the day of his engagement celebration, he's betrayed by 3 men, a jealous rival for his fiancée's affection, an envious colleague who wants his promotion, and a cowardly neighbor who goes along with the scheme. They forge a letter framing him as a Bonapartist conspirator. He's arrested at his own engagement party and thrown into the Château d'If, a fortress prison on an island off the coast of Marseille, where he's left to rot for 14 years, forgotten by the world. But Dantes did not forget them. This isn't some fairy tale. This is a manual on strategic patience, calculated revenge, and complete transformation. This is the Count of Monte Cristo. Now this one, for me, is on par with the Godfather novel. Yeah, it's that good. The Count of Monte Cristo, the masterpiece by Alexandre Dumas. Why should you read it? While books like The 48 Laws of Power and The Laws of Human Nature are great, it's just as important to see them in action. This is a story about strategic patience, transformation, and the cost of vengeance. You'll notice a lot of parallels between characters in The Godfather and in this novel. The closest parallels are Michael and Edmond, both start innocent and become cunning power players. But in the Count of Monte Cristo, the theme of revenge is even more intense, more personal. It explores the psychology of someone who dedicates their existence to enacting revenge. The Count doesn't just enact his revenge on those who wronged him. No, that would be too merciful. He meticulously dismantles their entire lives and watches them suffer while they see everything they built turn to ash. I won't spoil it, but this story has so many twists and turns that you never see coming. Other than that, the writing is brilliant, it's immersive and relentless. Like I said, it truly embodies the famous Godfather line, "Revenge is a dish best served cold." While the Corleones took their time, the Count takes patience to an almost mythical level. What makes it brilliant? 1. The psychology of revenge. Most revenge stories are simple. Bad things happen, the hero goes through a transformation, hero gets even, roll credits. But this novel goes deeper. It explores what revenge does to the person seeking it. If you sacrifice everything to destroy your enemies, what have you really won? The cost of becoming dangerous. From an honest, naive, and optimistic sailor into a ruthless master strategist. But that transformation requires becoming cold, calculated, and willing to manipulate everyone. But here's what makes both stories brilliant. They don't stop at the revenge. Both books understand something most revenge stories miss. The person who gets revenge isn't the same person who was wronged. That person died. Someone else took their place. The question both ask, was it worth it? 1,200 pages. Let's be honest, it's not a weekend read. Chapters are fairly short. It moves fast despite the length. Genuinely, never thought a novel could be that intense. This is the first classic novel I immersed myself in, and it opened the door to many more. So then grab a copy online. I'll try to share with you a free version and pair it up with the audiobook, and you're in for a treat. Let me know if you actually read this and how you went about it. Hey, and do me a favor, don't be a stunad. Take out that like and hit the subscribe button and drop Inner Circle in the comments. Let's hit 10,000 likes. Loyalty like that does not go unnoticed. Come on, before I gotta make some phone calls.
That's a Sicilian message.
1513, near Florence, a dismissed diplomat, fresh from a Medici dungeon, sits in exile on a small farm. He writes not for glory, but to claw back a place in power. The result will make his name echo for 500 years. This is Machiavelli's The Prince, the Mafia's Bible. A master of the game of power, he doesn't hide it. He lays it out to his benefactor. Machiavelli might be one of the most misunderstood writers in history. And that's a topic for another day, but realize this, Machiavelli had a profound ability to look at things from other people's perspectives, more specifically from the point of view of a master player in the game of power. He shares how to play the game from the puppeteer's point of view. Machiavelli spent 14 years as Florence's chief diplomat in the Republican government, handling missions to France, negotiating with popes, watching Caesar Borgia carve up Italy like a master surgeon. Then 1512 hits. The Medici family storms back into Florence, overthrows the Republic, and Machiavelli? He's done, stripped of everything. Worse, they suspect him of conspiracy. 3 weeks in jail, tortured on the rack 6 times. Once finally released, he was broke and broken, exiled to his family farm outside Florence. This wasn't a retirement, this was political death. So he does what any desperate man with too much knowledge and too much time does. He writes. Late 1513, working fast, Machiavelli pours 14 years of insider knowledge into 90 pages. But this was an intellectual pursuit. It wasn't for the love of philosophy. It was a job application. He dedicated it to Lorenzo de' Medici, the new Prince of Florence, basically saying, look, I know how this game works. I've seen it all. Here's everything I know. Hire me back. Lorenzo didn't even read it. The book sat in manuscript form, circulating among Florence's political class like contraband. Machiavelli died in 1527, still hoping for his old job back. 5 years later, 1532, The Prince finally published, and immediately the Catholic Church banned it. Too honest, too raw, too real about how power actually works versus how it's supposed to work. Why you should read it? I mean, it should go without saying, but here's a reminder. Machiavelli watched Italy get carved up by France, Spain, and the Holy Roman Empire because Italian princes played nice. He saw Cesare Borgia, a ruthless operator who almost unified Italy through pure calculated violence. He learned one lesson. Nice guys don't just finish last, they get destroyed. This book teaches you the core concept, virtu versus fortuna. Virtu isn't virtue, it's skill, cunning, the ability to shape circumstances. Fortuna is fortune, the chaos you can't control. The winners, they master virtu to dominate fortuna. They're feared, not loved. They break promises when necessary. They eliminate threats decisively. They understand that appearances matter more than reality. Project strength even when you're weak. Mercy even when you're cruel. He describes how the puppeteers have been playing the game for centuries. He isn't really trying to revolutionize these tactics, he's simply pointing them out. Benefits. Separation of power from morality. Understand that effective leadership requires different rules than private life. Strategic adaptation. Learn to be both lion and fox, strong and cunning, adjusting tactics to the circumstances. Reality-based thinking. See politics as it is, not as it should be. Risk management. Master when to be bold versus cautious. We all know it's a required reading, but there's something I want to point out. Now, most people who first hear about the prince go in excited. They open it up and expect they'll find something similar to the 48 Laws of Power, or, some super evil psychological tricks they can start using to manipulate people around them. But much to their disappointment, it's nothing like that. The Prince was written as a private memo to a ruler, not as a self-help book or public resource, and I mean that literally. He was writing for the Medici. This is literally in the first page. So the lessons and wisdom is embedded within the text. Now, it's not an entirely dated work. Machiavelli pulls lessons and stories from throughout history to illustrate his points. He does also lay out key maxims and the iconic one-liners. I remember when I first picked it up and started reading and had almost no idea what he was talking about, but a few years later I started learning more about the game of power, and so on, and things started to connect. I'm big on history, and so I did some research about the Italian wars, Florentine politics, and Cesare Borgia, and the lessons clicked immediately. So once you have a bit more context, you can really enjoy this book, and then it's much easier to find the parallels with the world today, or see the same patterns in all periods of history. I'm working on a modern version that translates and compiles the lessons into something you can actually use day to day. Basically a version where you can get the raw value and constantly look back on it without having to decipher the real meaning. If you think this would be useful, comment Prince down below. To really think like a Don, you need to understand one fundamental truth. With chaos comes opportunity, but only for those who see it coming. As a modern-day Don, you can't just react to the world around you. You need to know where it's heading. You need a bird's-eye view of how power rises, how empires fall, and how everything moves in cycles. And there's a book that gives you exactly that. Now, before you assume this is some modern political science textbook or Silicon Valley futurist manifesto, this was written 650 years ago in 1377 during the golden age of Islamic civilization by a man named Ibn Khaldun. Let me put it like this. Before there was Machiavelli, there was Ibn Khaldun. And here's what makes this book terrifying. Let's look at some of its predictions about the decline of civilizations. If you want to think like Don Corleone, you need to understand the forces that destroyed his world. The Corleone family follows the exact pattern Ibn Khaldun described. Ibn Khaldun explained that the dynasties have natural lifespans, typically lasting about 120 years, roughly 3 generations of 40 years each. He identified 5 stages every dynasty goes through. Stage 1. Conquest. A new dynasty emerges from the periphery with a strong asabiya, group solidarity, and overthrows the previous rulers. This is Vito arriving from Sicily with nothing, building from the ground up with absolute loyalty from his men. Everyone shares in the spoils. The ruler remains one of us. The dynasty retains the toughness and the qualities that made conquest possible. Stage 2. Consolidation. Now, the ruler gains complete control over his people, claims royal authority all for himself, excluding them. This is Vito consolidating power, eliminating rivals, but more specifically, when he officially becomes the Godfather. But here's the thing, the original group feeling starts slowly eroding. Power becomes about maintaining power, not serving the collective. This is where we see betrayal start becoming more likely. Stage 3. Leisure and tranquility. The period of cultural flourishing and tolerance. Michael inherits an established, powerful family. They're moving into legitimate business, casinos, real estate, politics. They're no longer a small crime family in New York, rather a national powerhouse. The ruler focuses on collecting taxes, regulating income and expenses, erecting large buildings, big construction, spacious cities, and lofty monuments. The family is prosperous, building monuments to their success. Stage 4. Contentment and peacefulness. The beginning of decline as luxury takes hold and asabiya weakens. Michael's children are born into wealth. They don't have the hunger. The bonds of loyalty start dissolving. Ibn Khaldun describes the ruler becoming content with what his predecessors have built. Ambition dies. Michael's children are born into wealth. But here's the critical observation. The complete triumph of luxury and abandonment of group feeling occurs. Ibn Khaldun writes that members of the tribe revel in the well-being that God has given them. Their children and offspring grow up too proud to look after themselves. The bonds of loyalty dissolve. People despise their ruler. Stage 5. Waste and disintegration. The final collapse as asabiya dissolves completely into factionalism. What took Vito a lifetime to build fragments and crumbles. Ibn Khaldun explained why this happens. He showed that luxury destroys the warrior spirit. As dynasties settle in cities and taste comfort, their bonds of solidarity weaken. Urban life promotes individualism and self-seeking behavior. The grandchildren of conquerors become entitled and weak. The 3-generation rule. The first generation witnessed the establishment and retains the desert qualities. The second generation witnessed consolidation and splendor, but the idealism was lost. By the third generation, complete chaos and degeneration arrive. It's not random. It's a pattern that's repeated for thousands of years, and if you understand it, you can either break it or exploit it in others. Put this template into any civilization. Now, a question for you. We have members from all around the world, so comment what stage you think your nation is at. Where do you think we're currently at in the cycle? Comment below. This book gives you a lens that separates you from everyone else. You'll start recognizing these patterns everywhere. You'll see when a company, family, or organization is in stage 3 versus stage 4. This is the book that lets you think 3 generations ahead. When everyone else is reacting to today, you're seeing the inevitable trajectory, not by predicting specific events, but by understanding the forces that never change. It's the secret that all these old money families carry their wealth for countless generations. This book not only tells you what happens, but will answer the bigger and more important question, why does it happen? October 1806, Prussian countryside. Smoke still hangs over the battlefield at Jena. An entire army shattered in an afternoon. Karl von Clausewitz, 26 years old, is now a prisoner of war. Napoleon Bonaparte, the greatest military mind in history, has just crushed Prussia in hours. In his French prison cell, Clausewitz makes a choice. While other officers wait for release, he studies his captor. Every campaign Napoleon has fought, every principle behind his genius. He's dissecting brilliance from inside the cage. When he returns to Prussia, he's different. Then, 1812. Prussia allies with Napoleon. Clausewitz refuses. He resigns his commission, crosses enemy lines, joins the Russian army. Now, at Borodino, he's not studying Napoleon, he's fighting him. During the frozen retreat from Moscow that destroys the Grand Army, he witnesses it all. He's been on both sides, prisoner and soldier, student and opponent. This gave him something unique, perspective. After Napoleon's defeat, he became director of the War Academy and spent 15 years writing this masterpiece. Lenin studies them, Mao quotes them, Eisenhower reads it 3 times, the Marine Corps builds doctrine from it.
War is a continuation of politics by other means. Von Clausewitz.
An incomplete work that became the complete grammar of power. On War, the unfinished masterpiece that taught generals, CEOs, and godfathers how to think strategically. He entered the Prussian military at age 12, saw his first combat at 13, 15 years writing what he had learned, the complete anatomy of warfare. The result? A masterpiece covering war's nature, strategy, defense, attack, and the logic of conflict itself. This book has shaped modern warfare, corporate strategy, and power thinking. If you want to think like Don Corleone or any power player who builds empires, you need to understand Clausewitz's 6 core concepts. You'll understand why friction eats strategy. You build for reality, not theory. How to operate in fog, make the best decisions possible with incomplete information. The trinity in every conflict, emotional, creative, and rational dimensions. How to find centers of gravity, where power actually concentrates. When to defend versus attack. Consolidation often beats expansion. That everything serves political objectives. Stop confusing tactics with strategy. You'll develop strategic intuition, seeing through complexity to underlying dynamics. This separates people who talk about strategy from people who think strategically. I won't lie, this isn't the easiest read. Is it worth it? Ask Andy Grove. Ask the generals who built successful campaigns. Ask the strategists who built empires. If you have a love and interest in history and battle tactics, this will be an absolute joy. You really feel how raw and practical the tactics are, and then can see the parallels with situations you might be familiar with. Strategic mastery isn't easy. Neither is the book that teaches it. If you want to think like a true Don, someone who understands the fundamental logic of how power accumulates and sustains itself, you read On War. Clausewitz wrote it 200 years ago, but it's still studied because of the nature of strategic conflict never changes. Friction, fog, the trinity, centers of gravity, political objectives, those are eternal. Pick any scene Vitos in and you'll notice him listening, watching. He barely speaks. But by the end of the conversation, he knows everything. What you want, what you fear, what you'll do next. That wasn't movie magic, that was human nature mastery. And it's all around you. The Corleone Dons didn't survive because they were the most violent or the most ruthless. They survived because they could read people better than anyone else. In life, the game is people. What are they thinking? Are they lying? What do they want? Most people stumble through interactions blind. But here's the truth. Every person is a book. And like any book, once you learn how to read it, the story reveals itself. There's no one page that tells you everything, no single chapter that gives it all away, but there are sentences, paragraphs, and patterns across pages. That head nod by itself, just a word. That slight lean, a comma. But string them together, the timing, the context, the sequence, and you're reading full sentences. You're understanding the plot. Master what Vito Corleone knew instinctively. He understood that people are like an open book. He read people like a book, cover to cover, every chapter, every footnote. Most people only glance at the cover, the smile, the handshake, the rehearsed introduction. They skim a few pages and they think they know the whole story. But Vito, he learned to read the prologue, the foreshadowing, the subtext between the lines. He spotted betrayal in the way they turned pages. That's the difference between skimming and actually reading. This isn't an academic theory. This is the reader's guide to human behavior. You need practical tools that actually help you. Not just theory, things you can read off the page and immediately apply in your next conversation. Theory is important. Understanding the psychology behind behavior matters. But what's the point if you can't use it? This book bridges that gap. Every chapter ends with action steps, real scenarios, pattern recognition drills. You'll finish this knowing exactly what to look for and when. As you read this, you'll develop your literacy in human behavior, start picking up on patterns. You'll learn to read the chapters that most people skip, the micro-expressions, how tone contradicts words. You'll understand others better, their motivations, their fears, their lies. But here's what makes things different. You'll also understand yourself. This goes a layer deeper than most body language content. You'll start communicating with the subconscious of others and your own, understanding why you react in certain ways, where your tells are, and how to control what you broadcast. It is a two-way mirror, and once you see through it, everything changes. Because once you understand these laws, you have Vito's superpower. You see who's loyal and who's waiting to flip. Who's driven by fear versus ambition, who's dangerous, and who's just noise. This is one of the most straightforward books on the list. Reading people takes time and practice. Pattern recognition isn't instant, which is why you'll get access to special resources to help you master this faster. We're doing an exclusive drop to readers of this book, video breakdowns of real interactions, pattern recognition exercises, and case studies that you won't find anywhere else. Sign up below to see if you qualify for this special access. Don, a beach outside Kokura, Japan's greatest swordsman, waits with his entire school behind him. The challenger is 2 hours late. When he finally arrives, he doesn't even bring a real sword. He's carved one from a boat oar on the way over. 4 minutes later, the master is dead on the sand, skull shattered. The challenger walks away. He's only 17 years old. His name? Miyamoto Musashi. "61 duels, 61 victories, 0 defeats." Now, that sounds like anime, like some protagonist with infinite plot armor, except this was real. Real duels where one mistake meant death. Real blood, real bodies. 1665, Miyamoto Musashi is hiding in a cave called Regando on Mount Iwato. He's not hiding from enemies, he's killed all of them. He's hiding from the world to complete one final mission, documenting the strategy that made him invincible. Every strategy, every principle, every technique that kept him alive when death was always one sword swing away. Musashi didn't write this for warriors, he wrote it for anyone pursuing mastery in anything. The 5 rings: earth, water, fire, wind, and void. They aren't about sword technique, they're about how to see opportunities others miss, how to position yourself to win before the fight even starts, and how to move through life undefeated. He finished this manuscript weeks before his death. It's his final transmission, everything that kept him alive when death was only one move away. The Book of 5 Rings, the undefeated samurai's blueprint for strategic domination. Because modern strategy is still about the same thing, reading your opponent, controlling timing, and positioning yourself where you can't lose, Musashi's principles apply whether you're negotiating deals, building businesses, or navigating power structures. This isn't theory from someone who studied strategy, this is from someone who died if he got it wrong. Every principle in here was tested in life or death situations. He didn't have the luxury of being wrong. How to create situations where victory is inevitable. How to see 10 moves ahead. How to make opponents defeat themselves. Understanding strategic timing, knowing when to act and when to wait, Musashi was a master of the psychological warfare who understood that most battles are won before they begin. Learning to adapt like water. Rigid systems break, but fluid strategy survives everything. You'll understand how to maintain pressure without revealing your true capabilities. With internalized strategy, you move instinctively, faster than anyone can counter. Now, this one is interesting. It's by no means a difficult read, but similar to The Art of War, it is sometimes difficult to make immediate connections between the principles and your own life. But that's also the beauty of it. Some lines don't hit you straight away. You'll read a passage about becoming the void or striking from emptiness and think, okay, cool. And then 6 months later, you face a situation and it suddenly clicks. It's not a self-help book that you read once and throw away. This is one you come back to. You connect the dots long after you closed it. The real difficulty isn't in reading it, it's living it. The principles seem simple on paper, but applying them, understanding timing in real situations, reading opponents in actual scenarios, that takes experience. Every time you reread it at a different stage of life, different lines will hit differently. Now, this one is the one I'm most excited to share with you. And honestly, let's keep it between us. If you actually subscribed and got to this point of the series, you've earned it. You might notice we never mentioned the 48 Laws of Power, even though we've done so many in-depth analyses. It's a masterpiece, but it's obvious. You've probably read it, or at least heard of it. But for number 1 especially, I want to recommend something that will genuinely help you and give you an edge over your competition. Now go grab your copy of the 48 Laws and flip through it. Look at the footnotes, the bibliography. You'll see one name appearing over and over: Balthazar Gracian. Green showed you the treasure map the entire time. Most people never followed it. What I find even more interesting is Balthazar himself. He's completely different from Machiavelli or Ibn Khaldun. Machiavelli was a politician writing survival manuals for princes. Ibn Khaldun was a historian analyzing civilizations. But Gracian? A Jesuit priest operating inside one of history's most dangerous courts. He wasn't theorizing about power, he was living it, watching it, documenting it in real time. The Art of Worldly Wisdom, the original 48 Laws of Power by Balthazar Gracian. Balthazar Gracian was a Jesuit who served as a confessor to high officials, including the Viceroy of Aragon, pulling him into Madrid's political circles in the 1640s. He watched the court from inside, not as a schemer, but as a priest hearing confessions and observing human nature at its rawest. It's highly regarded. It's lauded by legendary philosophers and writers from Schopenhauer to Nietzsche. 1647. The Spanish Golden Age is fading. The royal court is a viper pit. Gracian is a Jesuit priest watching powerful men maneuver, betray, rise, and fall. Sermons by day, by night, something else entirely. 300 maxims. Read carefully, and it is pure strategy. If you found value in the 48 Laws, now see where many of those ideas came from and what Green couldn't include. Gracian doesn't give you laws, he gives you principles, the operating system beneath the tactics. Green expands with historical examples and modern packaging. Gracian gives you a concentrated essence. No fluff, no long explanations, just surgical observations about human nature and power dynamics. It's harder, but it cuts deeper. Gracian tells you what wise people actually do. He writes for anyone navigating hierarchies, boardrooms, social circles, or relationships. Unlike Ibn Khaldun's big historical cycles, Gracian gives you immediate applicable wisdom, tactical maxims you can use today. You'll learn to read between the lines, to see what people are actually doing beneath what they're saying, to control your image without seeming like you're controlling it, to create necessity, to weaponize withdrawal, to make envy work for you instead of against you. This is the edge. While everyone else is reading the bestsellers, you're reading the primary source, the one that created all the others. Now, this one is by no means a simple read. I recommend you read no more than 1 to 3 maxims every day and try really to ponder on what they mean, how they can be used, and how they apply to your own life. Don't rush it. Each maxim is compressed wisdom that needs time to unfold. You'll read one, you think you understand it, and something happens in your life and suddenly that maxim hits completely differently. That's how this book works. It reveals itself through experience. But that's exactly why it belongs at number 1.